Elias Thorn had never seen a battlefield like this, silent, scorched, and glittering with strange metallic dust that shimmered in the twin suns. The crash site stretched across a valley on the frontier moon Arcani 7, where he served as a field medic for the United Terran Relief Corps. Their job was simple: respond to distress calls, help everyone they could, even if everyone sometimes meant non-human species. The call had been brief, garbled, and looping on repeat. Ship down, multiple casualties, need medical. Then static. Elias had followed the emergency beacon to a wreck that did not belong to any species he recognized. The hull was triple-winged, carved with violet inscriptions, and humming with a strange energy even while broken. He took a breath, tightened the straps on his medical pack, and moved forward. He expected bodies, he expected smoke, he even expected danger. He did not expect her. A figure sat against the shattered remains of the cockpit, armor cracked, one arm limp, one leg twisted at an angle that made Elias wince, but the figure was unmistakably alive and unmistakably alien. Tall, even sitting down, skin a luminous silver blue, hair like strands of woven starlight, and armor that looked like it had been grown instead of forged. Her eyes tracked him sharply. "Stay back, human." Her voice was calm, firm, but strained. Elias raised both hands. "I'm a medic, I'm here to help. You don't know who I am. I don't need to." She blinked, surprised by the answer. Most people, she knew, would have run, or bowed, or begged for their lives, but this human just opened his medkit as if treating a wounded alien was a normal Tuesday. The Empress of the Kyrian Dominion, supreme ruler of 1,000 star systems and undefeated warrior of legend, stared at him in silence for nearly 10 seconds. She had gone by many titles across the galaxy. Empress Xylera, the Silver Tempest, the blade that commands suns. Elias knew none of them. He only knew she was hurt. Chapter 1: The Wound. "Your leg looks bad," Elias said as he knelt beside Xylera. "Permission to check?" She hesitated only a moment. "Granted." He worked carefully, mindful of her unusual physiology. Her armor was fused to the skin in some places, organic and responsive. He gently tapped the side clasps, which detached with a soft pulse of violet light. Xylera raised an eyebrow. "How did you know how to remove it?" "I didn't," Elias admitted. "Just guessed. Looked like a release latch." "You guessed, on the armor of the Kyrian Empress? Did it work?" "Yes." "Then let's keep going." She found herself almost amused. Humans were strange. He examined her leg. Not broken, thankfully, but severely dislocated, and several deep cuts glowed faintly with bioluminescent blood. "That's a lot of bleeding," Elias muttered. "I have survived worse. I once fought 7 Vornak assassins." "Cool story, but let's try to avoid infection today, okay?" Nobody talked to the Empress like that." Xylera stared at him in disbelief. Elias cleaned the wounds with neutralizing spray. It hissed as it contacted her blood, but she didn't flinch. He wrapped her leg, stabilized her arm, and used microsutures to seal the gashes. "You're good at this," Xylera admitted reluctantly. "I'm a medic, that's my whole thing." He moved to check her ribs, but she stopped him with a firm grip, not aggressive. "Just warning. My injuries are manageable, leave them." "They're not. You need treatment." "I have endured pain that would break most species." "Yeah, well, I don't want to add you to the list." Her gaze softened with something almost like curiosity. "Human stubbornness, remarkable." She released him. Elias continued working. Chapter 2: The Secret. As he wrapped her ribs, he casually asked, "So, what were you doing flying over this moon anyway?" Xylera didn't answer. Elias shrugged. "You don't have to tell me, just trying to make conversation." "Finally," she said quietly, "I was on my way to negotiate a ceasefire." Elias froze. "A ceasefire? With who?" "Your people." His hands paused mid-bandage. "Our governments don't talk directly. There's too much distrust, too much history." She stared out at the wreckage of her ship. "I came alone. I thought it would show sincerity." "And someone shot you down?" "Yes." "Do you know who?" She hesitated. "It was not your fleet." "Then who?" Xylera's eyes narrowed. "There are factions in the galaxy who benefit from war. Peace threatens their power." Elias felt a knot form in his stomach. Someone out there had just sabotaged peace between two of the most powerful civilizations in the known galaxy, and now the Empress was stranded on a moon with a single human medic. He exhaled slowly. Well, until we figure this out, my job is to keep you alive. I am not accustomed to needing protection. Everyone needs help sometimes. She looked at him, really looked at him. For the first time, her gaze wasn't assessing him as a threat or a stranger. Just a person. You are unusual, Elias Thorn. Most people tell me that. Near sunset, the valley began to shake. Xylera reacted instantly, forcing herself upright despite her injuries. Something's coming, she warned. Elias looked around. Reinforcements? No, a hunter squad. Whoever shot me down sent them to finish the job. Elias felt cold fear creep up his spine. You can barely move. I need you to stay behind me. Not happening, Elias said firmly. You're injured. I'm helping. You would fight beside me? A stranger? You're not a stranger. You're my patient. Xylera gave him a long look, then nodded once. The hunters emerged from the dust, tall, armored, insectoid mercenaries with energy lances crackling in hand. One hissed, target identified, eliminate. Xylera tried to stand fully but faltered. Elias grabbed her arm to steady her. You can't fight them like this, he whispered. Then we run. Not fast enough. Elias's mind raced. He scanned the wreckage and saw a half-functional power conduit sparking near the debris. Empress, can your armor conduct charge? It can absorb it. Good, we're going to overload it. Her eyes widened. That will create a shock wave. Exactly, enough to knock them back. It could also injure you, human. I'll take that chance. Xylera stared at him, stunned. No one risks themselves for me, she said quietly, not without duty, not without fear. Well, first time for everything. He supported her as they moved toward the conduit. The hunters fired, but a broken wing panel gave them cover. Elias pressed her hand to the sparking cable. Ready? For battle, she said, voice steady. He pushed the conduit into her armor. It surged with crackling energy, and Xylera released it in a thunderous pulse of violet lightning. The hunters were thrown backward like ragdolls. Elias staggered from the force, but Xylera caught him before he fell. You are reckless, she scolded. You're welcome, he panted. The shockwave bought them minutes, not hours. Xylera turned to him. You must go. Escape into the canyons. They want me, not you. Not happening. Elias. You can barely walk. I'm not leaving you to die here. Xylera looked torn, something unfamiliar to her. The Empress was used to command, certainty, strength, not vulnerability, not reliance. No one in her empire would have dared offer help like this, not without political motives or fear. But this human didn't want anything. He was simply decent. Unexpectedly decent. And oddly brave. She finally said, if we survive, the galaxy will owe you a debt. I don't need a debt, I just need you to stay alive. For the first time in years, Xylera felt something shift inside her, respect, for a single human medic who treated her not as an empress or a warrior, but as a person in need. Very well, she said, we survive together. The hunters regrouped quickly, the ground trembled again. Xylera steadied herself. I can fight, but I cannot win alone. Good thing you're not alone. Elias grabbed a flare launcher from his pack, a tool, not a weapon, but better than nothing. Stay behind me, she said. Nope. I am the most powerful warrior in the galaxy. And I'm your medic, deal with it. She almost smiled. The hunters charged. Xylera met them head-on, even injured. She moved like a storm, deflecting blows with her remaining strength. Elias backed her up, using the flare launcher to blind attackers, throwing medical foam to immobilize legs, and yanking Xylera out of danger whenever she faltered. Together, they were messy, uncoordinated, but unstoppable. Finally, the hunters retreated, their numbers broken. Elias collapsed onto a rock, breathing hard. Did we win? For now, Xylera said, sitting beside him. You okay? I will heal. She turned to him with an expression most beings in the galaxy would never have believed possible, gratitude. Elias Thorn, you saved my life today, twice. You're welcome. You do not understand, she said. I am Empress Xylera of the Kyrian Dominion. Elias blinked. Wait, the Empress Xylera? The one entire fleets surrender to? Yes. Ha. Ha, she sounded offended. That is your reaction? You're still my patient. Xylera stared at him, then let out a soft, disbelieving breath. You humans, she murmured, are impossible. Rescue ships arrived hours later, the Joint Terran-Kyrian Task Force, alerted by Elias's emergency beacon. Xylera was immediately surrounded by her elite guards, but she gestured sharply for them to step aside. She approached Elias. You treated my wounds without hesitation. You fought beside me without fear. You stood with me when many warriors would have fled. Elias scratched his neck. Just doing my job. No, she said firmly, you changed the course of a war. He looked puzzled. Xylera leaned closer, not in a romantic way, but in the solemn manner of a warrior acknowledging another. When I speak to the Kyrian Council, she said, I will tell them I owe my life to a human. Peace will follow. Elias blinked. Seriously? You have my word. She offered her hand, the gesture of highest honor among her people. Elias took it. And the most powerful warrior in the galaxy nodded to the human who had patched her wounds, fought at her side, and spoken to her like no one else ever had. Together, without meaning to, they had changed the future. And neither would ever forget it.